It's not that I am angry or anything at Sarah or angry at May or anything like that, but I guess I am kind of angry at May. I guess that's what you can kind of say. It's just that I'm angry at society and how everything goes down. You know what I mean? Like, basically, you're held to a level, and if you don't reach that level every single time, people are going to start treating you differently. And May lets that known. She lets it very much known. She's like, look, listen, I don't trust you. I don't trust Dan. I think you guys are disgusting. And it's like, all right, that's great that you don't trust me, but like, then don't do certain things with me. You know what I mean? Like, don't invite me out with Sarah and stuff like that. But it's not anything towards Sarah. In fact, I'm sitting there thinking like, oh my gosh, do I really like her? You know what I mean? Like, because I did that during like a manic phase. So I'm in this manic phase and I'm just like, what I started doing when I'm in my manic phase, this is what I do. I start destroying things. I start destroying relationships, and I do it to everyone. It's not just one single person. So don't think that you're singled out or anything like that. I do it to everybody and everything. I do it to my jobs. I do it to coworkers. I do it to family. I do it to friends. I do it to everybody. And if you're in the line of fire, that sucks. But what if I was just like, you raped me? What if I just started accusing that you raped me? Well, how would you feel? And that's basically how it feels to be on the receiving end of it, I guess I'm trying to say. Because like, you you're there and you're like, all right, I didn't do anything bad, but they're like, yes, you did do something bad, so we have to punish you for it. So, it's just you getting punished. And I just hate the punishing part, because it's just like, I don't need to be here, okay? And you can give up on me. It will just make me stronger at the end of the day. I'd rather you give up on me, is what I'm trying to say. I'd rather you give up on me, because it makes it that much easier to see how the world really works, because that's how the world works in my eyes, and in a person that has a mental illness, because you guys are already turning your backs on us. You know what I mean? You already have your back halfway turned. Just because you look at me, just to look at me, you have to turn your head around just to look at me anymore. And it's like, I don't want to deal with that anymore. But it's not anything towards her or anything like that. It is weird, because I'm just like, no, I don't really like Sarah, do I? And it kind of confuses me now. You know what I mean? And I bet you May would listen to this and she'll be like, yo, that's freaking disgusting. She's too young. And it's just like, do I understand how a pedophile feels? I've been trying to explain this to May for the longest, and it's just like, because there was one time where Dan was talking, and he was talking about his cousin or something like that, and he said that his cousin had big tits, and May was like, "That's disgusting. That's your cousin. Why are you looking at her like that? Why are you subjecting her like that?" And in my mind, it's just like saying that, oh, she's kind of overweight. You know what I mean? It's like my dad says that all the time. So if you're commenting on someone's portions or whatever, you're just commenting on that. And to be a male and say that you have big tits, and all of a sudden it turns into a big deal, like, oh, now you're an untrustworthy, I can't trust you. I just think that that's taking it a little bit too far, and you're just taking advantage of what society gives you. Society gives you a right to treat people differently. So you will use that right to treat anybody you want differently because of the way that you think. And it's just like for her, where it's just like, you pick out older guys. You know what I mean? That's what she goes for. She dates older guys. If they're 5 years older than her, that's what she likes. But she doesn't like the fact that a guy can like a girl that's 5 years younger than them. And then she gets a little bit more specific. It's like she doesn't like that. Let's say you're 18 years old and 5 years younger than that is a 13-year-old. She's saying that if you find a 13-year-old attractive, then you're disgusting. You're a pedophile. And for me, it's just like, do I think that? I don't necessarily think that. And a lot of people will start arguing with me and they're like, what the hell are you talking about? That's way too young. But you got to realize that girls mature, and girls and guys, the human species matures at 12 years old. So if you're 12 years old and you're already in that phase of becoming an adult, I just think that people should start paying attention to that more. Like, yes, maybe it's a little bit young, but you got to realize this. I went out with a girl that got raped by her boyfriend at 5 years old. Her brother was maybe 5 years older than her. I'm not sure how much older he is. His name is Ray. So Ray raped his sister Randy for 2 years. She was 5 years old until she was 7 years old. So a 5 year old, like, you don't find her attractive. I wouldn't find her attractive. Like, I have my limits too. But she then went on to have her first real sexual experience. She was like, this is how she explained it to me. She was like, I didn't lose my virginity at 5 years old. I don't count that. But I started, what's that called? Finger play, hand play, oral play, something like that. She got fingered for the first time when she was 12 years old. She counts that as her one of her first times. At 12 years old, she got fingered by another boy. So you got to realize that these girls mature much faster than you think. And I know that you're thinking that, like, well, that was a 12-year-old and she got raped when she was 5 years old. So obviously she's going to start maturing a little bit faster than everybody else. But would you call her a pedophile because she's having sex at such a young age with other boys that are her age? She's not going to find a 18-year-old to do that to her. She's finding somebody that's her age. So she's 12 years old. She found another 12 years old boy that would do this with her, and she did it. Now, do you call her a pedophile because she's doing it at 12 years old? That's what I'm trying to get at. I'm not trying to say like it's right that an 18-year-old should see a 13-year-old and think that, oh, they're sexually attractive. No. I'm just saying that there are some, I'm going to the extreme over here. There are some girls that look very mature for their age. And those are the outliers. So when I talk, I'm talking about outliers. Like the ones that are like, all right, if you looked at this 14-year-old girl and she looks like she's 16, how would you treat her? That's what I'm thinking. Like, I'm not trying to say like she's 14, she looks like a 12-year-old, and just because she's 14, I think that she should have sex. Like, no, that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that there are some girls that look more mature for their age, and there are some girls that just look very, very pretty. And does that mean that you should be having sex with them? It depends on how old you are. You know what I mean? Nobody would bat an eye if a 15-year-old had sex with a 15-year-old. Nobody would say anything. They would probably get mad at the boy. The boy would take the brunt of the problem. They would be like, he's the problem child, not the girl. The girl's innocent. I think that that's very wrong. And I think that that's how May views the world. It's like she blames the guy for most of the things. She always says, like, the guy is pretty perverted. Guys are pretty perverted. So They do most of the crimes in the world. And, you know, is that true? Yeah, that's probably true. That's probably true. But look at what is given to a guy when they are first going into the puberty. Like they watch pornos, and what do pornos do? They show this girl, and look at the titles on these pornos, like stepsister and brother have sex, or brother and sister have sex, or stepmom has sex with son. You know what I mean? Like that's what we're given. So it's just like you got to realize what we're growing up into, and you got to realize that guys are more starved than girls. Girls are sought after. Everybody's looking for a girl. Everybody wants a girl. So like you have to work on protecting the girl. But even if the girl doesn't want to be protected and she wants to let her sexuality flourish, she can have almost any guy that she wants whenever she wants to start. If she wants to start at 16 years old, nobody can say anything to her. She will have sex with as many people as she wants. Maybe the teachers might say something about it. Teachers will probably be like, hey guys, just make sure that you're using protection and stuff like that. That's the only thing that they can say. That's the only thing that they can say. But if a boy is going around and being promiscuous, they'll say the same thing. They'll be like, yeah, just make sure you're using a condom and whatnot. And if somebody gets pregnant, nobody says anything. They're like, well, we hope you keep the baby. It's it's very reversed. But then when it's an older guy and a younger girl, everybody has this stigma about it. They're like, oh, the guy's a pervert. And, we have Drake out here that is 30 years old. I think he was 30 and he went out with a 19-year-old. Like the age difference was pretty crazy. She's 19 years old. 18 is the age of consent. So she was 19 years old. Drake was 30 years old. He treated her like a girlfriend. He even sang about her in her song. I mean, they sang a song together on my favorite album, More Life. Favorite album. They sing a song together and he's taking her seriously, but then she kind of plays him out and uses the fame for other means. And he's like, what the hell's wrong with you? And stuff like that. And May would look at Drake and she would call him a pedophile. She'd be like, that's a pedophile. Kendrick Lamar would call Drake a pedophile. Do I see those people as pedophiles? No, I really don't. I really don't. Because I also say this. It's a human, you know, they're going to like other humans. You're telling me that you don't think that another human is sexually good enough for you. You know what I mean? Like you're looking at another human. I just don't see the problem with it. I'm not going to say anything more than that. That's all I'm going to say. I'm not even going to argue about it. That's just my um that's just my opinion. Would I do it if I had the chance to do it? If I was Drake and a 19-year-old girl was looking at me and wanted to get into a relationship with me, if would I do it? Probably. I would probably be another Drake. I would try to stay at 18 as best as I can, but all that coming at me, I probably wouldn't be able to handle it. And that's probably why I'm not famous. And that's probably why I don't reach those ranks because of this. But will I ever be famous? Probably not. So I have nothing to worry about. No girl will come after me. But do you not think that that girl is not just as responsible as the older guy is? You know what I mean? And if a girl was to do it, I think I saw this video about this girl saying that. She was like, it's disgusting if a guy goes after a younger girl. But it's not discussing if a older woman goes after a younger guy. She said that that is okay if the older girl goes after a younger guy. That's okay, but it's not okay if a older guy goes after a younger girl, because then it's called grooming. And I'm like, wait, what? That doesn't even make sense. Like, basically, when you break down their argument, it doesn't really make sense. It's not scientifically backed. Scientifically, you're going to find the same species attractive. It doesn't matter how old or young they are. If you are the same species, you're going to find them attractive. Like May says this. She says that she doesn't find younger guys attractive, but she thinks she sees them as attractive, but she doesn't see them as sexually attractive. And I'm just sitting there like, I don't think that makes sense. That doesn't make sense. Because she was like, for example, she was like, Sarah's boyfriend looks beautiful, but she doesn't see him as sexually attractive. And that's where I stop and I'm just like, that doesn't make sense. I don't think that makes sense. If you find something beautiful, you're going to do something with it. If you think an idea is great, you're going to write it down. It doesn't matter how perverted that idea is. It doesn't matter how simple that idea is. It doesn't matter how short it is, how long it is. You're going to sit down and write it out. You know what I mean? So I'm trying to make this a little bit my way. You know what I mean? Because I'm just losing on my end. But as you can see, it goes on in the world. Like, these older guys are hitting that line of like 18 years old. I don't know how they do it, but is that why they're famous? Be- because they can find that line and skim that line, and they'll be like, look, listen, that's an 18-year-old girl. I can do whatever I want. The age of consent is 18 years old. I can't get in trouble for this. But for me, I'm scared for myself. You know what I mean? Like May said it too. She was like, I'm scared for you. I'm scared for myself as well, because I don't want to look at a freaking 17-year-old girl and be like, I think she's very attractive. I think she's beautiful. And if she approaches me, then that's it. I would definitely need the right people around me to help me out with that. You know what I mean? But at least I'm honest about it. You know what I mean? Like, if I were to get famous and they'd be like, "Yo, let's let's dig up his past. Let's see how he really thinks." I'm just a hungry person. You know what I mean? Like, it's like money. It doesn't matter how old I am. I'm going to go after money. Just because you put age of the age of consent for money, I'm gonna say it like that, the age of consent for money at 16 years old. If I can start making money at 15 years old, I'm going to start making money at 15 years old. Somebody's ready to break the rules for me, I'm going to do it. Just like drinking alcohol. If I'm only 18 years old and somebody's willing to break the rules for me and get me alcohol while I'm 18 years old, I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it. I'm going to do it, bro. Just like you're going to abuse a guy for money. Just like you're going to live in an apartment for free. Like, if somebody were to break the rules for you, you would do it. And I just think that a lot of guys are weaker when it comes to females like that. So, if anything, I'll just go to a different country and I'll do it that way or something like that. I don't know. I'll be screwed. I think I'd be screwed. So, fame might be my enemy, which is why I probably will never get famous. And I'm okay with that. I mean, I need the money though. You know what I mean? But would I actively look for a young girl if they're around me? it sucks. It sucks. It really does. Because if I was Drake and I'm sitting there like, bro, I'm just chilling in my villa and this 5-year old, and he even talks about it. He even talks about it. This is what I love about Drake. He talks about how he had what's it called? A babysitter, and he had sex with her later on in life. It would be the same for me. It's like I babysat Sarah and now I find her attractive. It's like, yo, bro, it happens all the time. You act like, but you got to realize that when you become famous, it becomes more real. Everything becomes more real. So you have to be as transparent as possible and be like, yo, I have a weak constitution for girls. Yeah, bro. This is probably why I would never become famous. I just have that problem. There's just that big glaring problem, and I've seen how life goes. Life bends for me. I've seen it. Like for me, one of my big problems was drinking and driving. Like I would drink and I would drive, and no matter how bad I was, I would still drive. Now I can't drive whatsoever. You know what I mean? Like I've been trying to drive and I just have a really big problem with it. My medication won't allow me to drive. And now I have a fear of driving. Now I just don't do it. Now that that's taken away, I have so much more focus. Like, do I go out unnecessarily? Do I go out and drink and drive? No. But if I could have, would I have? Yes. And I was doing it up until I was like, up until I was unable to drive. I would get a bottle of Long Island from the store and I would meet up with May and we would just sit in the car and drink as much as we could. And I would drink until the point where my medication was still holding its weight. You know what I mean? It was still holding on. And because I got to a point where it started affecting me, where it's just like, oh, I really don't feel good and I don't think I could drive, but I would still drive. I would drink to that point and I'll be like, all right, I'm still good, I'm still good. And I would just, drive wherever we needed to drive. It's really hard. It's really hard because I would be smoking weed as well. And, you know, I even started buying weed. And basically, what I'm saying to May is this: you would allow a person to break as many rules as they want as long as you agree with them. But once you disagree with them, that's when you're like, you're disgusting. I think that's fucked up. Don't you think? I think that's fucked up. Because now you're not even going to put in the time to figure out why they have that opinion, why they have that. It's like you're just like, you're disgusting. You're disgusting. What if I'm deep down a pedophile? That would suck, dude. I don't think I am. I just think like there are girls that look very much older for their age. They look much older for their age. And I would get caught in a predicament. But would I go searching for them? I don't even have the mojo to do it, bro. I don't. I really don't. Like, I'm not that good at it. I can't pull a girl in. I can't make them interested. I think that's part of my superpowers. Like, if I'm texting them, I can't do it. But the thing about my ex girlfriend, Randy, is that she looks very young for her age. So when we were both 16, 17 years old, Randy looked like she was freaking 14, 15. So I would need a older girl or yes, an older girl that looks very young that can hold me down because I'm very loyal at the same time. I might be weak now because of what Randy did to me, because Randy cheated on me so much. He cheated on me so much, guys. And it got me into a really bad mindset. But like Miss Bo, there's this model called Miss Bo. She looks beautiful. She looks absolutely stunning, like out of this world. But she looks very young for her age. She looks extremely young. Like she always kind of looked her age when she was growing up, but she looked younger than her age. And that's kind of like what has been given to me in life. That's what's been given to me. I don't go for that. I would go for any girl. Like Rachel Cook looks like her age, but she's looked young. But these are models we're talking about. Models look young for their age. But the girls that I'm talking about, like Rachel Cook looks like an older girl. She looks like her age. You know what I mean? She looks like a 21-year-old. When she was 19, she looked 21. You know what I mean? That's what I mean. But Miss Bo's 32 years old. She looks like she's 20. Like that's what I mean. But life would give me Miss Bo. That's just the motion. That's just the freaking motion. I don't have anything to do with it. That's just how life goes. I just don't want to be caught up and be like, yo, that girl's 17 years old. And I'm just sitting here like, well, I think I have feelings for her and I want to be with her. Like, I would strictly have to be like, yo, bro, don't bring any girl that's younger than 18. Don't bring any girl that's younger than 20 years old around me. And I would make May my manager, and she'll definitely be like, all right, I got you. I'll check their ages. I don't want them any younger than that around you. Like maybe that's your problem with kids. Like I have a problem with kids. I don't really have a problem with kids, but like I don't want any kids. It doesn't mean that I would have sex with my own child. No, no, that's not how that goes. But maybe that's what it is. That's one of my things about kids that I hate about them. It's like they can get you in real big trouble. They can get you in huge, huge trouble, which is why I was such an admirer of Dan, that he could teach me so much stuff. Like I understand the importance of having an older role model in your life, especially an older role model that's not your family member, because family members are very restricting. They feel like they have to guide you with a strong hand. Like they're like, you have to respect me, but they don't let you earn their respect. No, they don't want to earn your respect. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They don't want to earn your respect. So you have to find someone that allows you to earn your respect. Am I saying that right? Like I have to respect you. I have to respect you in order for me to do anything with you. Like no offense, do I respect May? To only to a certain degree, just because like she's stuck with me. I respect her in that part. Like if she calls me, I'm gonna be like, I have to call her back. I respect her that much. But do I respect her enough to go out and try to have a good time with her? She gets into a lot of fights, so no, I wouldn't want to go out with her. I would make up excuses not to go out with her. You know what I mean? I guess that's just emotion. Yeah, I guess that's just emotion. I've been listening to Motion nonstop for this video, for this for this recording. I wish it'd be like, yo, bro, you're famous now. It's like, yo, what am I famous for? It's like for just talking your ass off and just talking your mind, speaking your mind, and just going off on these great adventures. And people can sit down and listen to it and just be like, yo, bro, this dude was just going in. He was just in his head. He was just talking it up. He didn't care. He did not care. And that's how I want it to be, guys. That's how I want it to be. I hope you had fun listening. I had a great time talking. That's just emotion. I guess that's just emotion. Yeah. I'm telling you, Drake is a real big inspiration for me, in different ways than you think. And even Playboy, Hugh Hefner. Like we take different things from them. That's what you got to understand. When people make it dark for you, you look for the light. You know what I mean? And I find the light in those people because I feel like they understand me. You know what? Yeah. Yeah, May, if you're listening to this, I hope you're happy about that at least. Like, bro, be my manager and be like, yo, nobody under 18 comes to this dude. If you are 17 years old and you look good, you look pretty, that's a problem. That is a effing problem. Don't be coming up in here trying to get something that you know is going to fuck everybody in this world up. I think that's how it has to be. I think, and that's what Drake says, like, Chubbs has found me a lot of girls. He said that in his song, He says that in his song. He's like, Chubbs found me a girl. And I think, yeah. I understand what they're talking about, bro. Because it's serious out here. And the only way people will know that is if you talk about it, if you make it known. So I want to make it known. You know what I mean? So I'm sorry, Sarah, for being so awkward around you. And I'm sorry to May for saying that. And now that it's out in the open, it's a very real thing now. It's a very real thing. I have to take it as serious as possible. Now I look at her much differently now. And now it's just like, oh my gosh. I wish I could be like, she's the ugliest girl ever. But she's a very pretty girl. And, she's getting her master's and something like that. And I should ask more questions. I should be more engaging. But I'm like pushing myself out because of what I said. Now I can't be myself. And I hate that. I hate that. More than I care what I said, more than that, I care about how I feel. I'm number one. I will always be number one. Just like you put yourself first for everything, I put myself first for everything. I'm starting to learn how to do that. And it's a really hard thing to do. It's a really hard thing to do. So I admire when people are able to do it. But I see you guys doing it so wrong, bro. I see you doing it so wrong. Like, people are like this. Don't get in my way. They're like, don't get in my way. I'm shooting for the top. So, like Belinda, for example, very great example of somebody that respects themselves. But then when it comes to jobs, we don't know what respect means. Nobody understands what respect means, bro. Not at all, bro. Not at all. Nobody knows what it means to respect themselves when it comes to jobs. Like, my mom has absolutely no idea what it means. No idea what it means. Belinda, no idea what it means. Diana, no idea what it means. How do you respect yourself when it comes to a job? And I feel like I have absolutely no choice but to show everybody. You know what I mean? Like, I have to get into a position of power to make a difference. Absolutely. do this is the thing, like, do I know what to do with the power? Absolutely. Right now, I know exactly what to do with the power. Do I know it? Do I really know exactly what to do? Can I tell you step by step? I know enough where I'm just like, if I was in power, I would make crazy changes. The motions that I would be doing, people would need to analyze, and they'll be like, yo, bro, what is he doing? He's going about this differently. You know, I'm just being 100 with myself. And I can do that with other people, but I can't do that face to face with them. You're going to have to listen to my recordings. You know what I mean? It's the only way you'll know about the real me. That's the only way. And you'll get a close mirror image of me. You know what I mean? Like when I'm talking to this mic, it's like a mirror image. When I'm talking to a camera, I can't do it. I can't do it. This is the closest you're gonna get to me. And then when I write, that's a different story as well. So there are stories upon stories upon stories. There's 3 layers that you gotta get through. Like, people love videos, so fine. Look at my videos. About 100 people see it. A good, you know, a good 2,000 people know what my face looks like. And that's just enough for me. That's just enough for me. But look at my recordings, nobody listens to them. Nobody knows how it is. Look at my writing, nobody reads them. Nobody reads them. So you don't know who I am. But when you do, it will be something serious. It will be something serious. I have these visions of being famous. I have these visions of being famous, of having a mansion. And I can't do anything about it. It feels like it's my destiny. You know, I used to work 9 to 5. Now I don't work 9 to 5. All I do is I get paid to stay at home. I get paid to stay at home. And home is the only place that I feel safe, and it freaking sucks. It sucks. I mean, it sucks, but it's the greatest thing ever. I don't have to wake up for anybody. Nobody. My family respects that I wake up whenever I need to wake up. I tell my doctor, I talk to my doctor as much as I can. There's a lot of things that I can't say. I would love to say it. But right here, this is where I could be real. This is where I could be real. And I know that no matter how much money I get, I'm going to be real. It's going to be real. And I know my limits. I know how much I can do. I know when too much is too much. I know it. And it's scary. It is absolutely scary. Going out there and not knowing your limits is scary. But it's scarier knowing your limits and knowing that you can stay by them. You know what I mean? Yeah. Just emotion.